Hey everybody, hope everybody's having a good day. But as promised, I'm on live right now to kind of talk over creative strategies that you can use to acquire property. So, my first rental property, I ended up actually profiting $5,000. And I wanted to tell the story about that. The first and foremost, I met the owner very randomly. I was outside of a house that, I was kind of about to put on the market. And right next door to the house I was putting on the market, another realtor in my brokerage was listing the house next door. So we was just outside, going back and forth between the houses, just looking inside of them. And a man across the street came outside and was like, he wanted to sell his house. So I'm just like, let's just talk through it. Why do you want to sell the house? What's going on? He was saying that at the time, he thought it was just too many repairs to put it on the market. The reason he wanted to sell is that hey, Denise, he really just didn't want the payment anymore. And he was like, I'm willing to, if I can't sell it, I'm just like gonna let the bank take it. So I'm like, that would be crazy. Oh, Gardy's in here. Gardy, send a request. So I was like, why would you let the bank foreclose on your house? Like, you do have options. You can put the house on the market, replace rotted wood that was on like the trim of the roof. Hey, Gardy.
What's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How's your day going?
It is rolling. So word on the street is you secured another property, huh?
Now I'm just talking about one of a property, my very, very, very first rental property.
Okay.
I don't even have it.
Okay.
So this is just a creative strategy that I'm talking about. Is called a subject to contract. But I was just giving them a little backstory about how I came across the guy. He was talking about he was going to let the bank take the house. He was just going to foreclose.
Right.
And he he just wanted to get rid of the house. Like, he was moving out completely. So I
He
was
was a
like,
motivated seller.
yeah, but he didn't want to put the house on the market. I was like, my at the time, matter of fact, I'm gonna shout them out. It was Kirby Dickerson and William Billups. They listed a house like right next door. I had a house on the market right beside that one, and we were just talking. And the guy across the street came outside and was like, he didn't want to have his house anymore. So, trying to read the comments. I can't read the comments and talk at the same time because then I get distracted. But yeah, so we randomly met him outside. I don't even know if they know that this man was outside talking about he want to sell his house. So I was like, you know what? I can take over the payments for you. Like, you're not behind right now. You can move out. Whatever you don't want to take, you don't have to take it. Um,
Right.
and if it's any repairs needed, I'm able to do repairs. And you just basically sign the house up to me. And but we're going to keep the mortgage in place because at the time also I did not have any money. I was probably I didn't have enough time as a realtor to actually purchase a house because you got to have 2 tax years where you claim taxes.
Right.
It wasn't in my I was probably in my second year. And I had done so many subject to contracts for clients at the time. I was like, I didn't think I could just take over your payment and just start, paying your mortgage. And at the time, I didn't know what I was going to do with the house. But I got with my mentor, and he was like, you just rent to own. Well, you put the house out as rent to own. Because I also, when I did the subject to contract, let me back up. So he was a little bit behind on the payment, so I had to catch up. It wasn't that much money. His payment was crazy low. And then he wanted like actual money to help him move. And then I had to give him $10,000. So altogether, it was $10,000 that I had to give him
Right.
just to move, have some money, and then he, have some money in his pocket just for signing over his house. I didn't have $10,000 at the time, but I was like, to my mentor, he's going to let me take over the mortgage. So how do I get $10,000? He was like, go ahead, do a subject contract, send it to the attorneys at the time. Now, one thing I want to put out there, now when I do subject to contracts, I do them in a trust. I used to do them underneath an LLC, and I actually like move the title and add my name to the deed just so it's no funny games after that. But you essentially take over the mortgage, but you're still running it through a title and putting your name on the deed. So there's like fees associated with that.
Right.
So I'm trying to like get my thoughts together. I went to my mentor. I was like, I don't have $10,000. How do I get $10,000? He was like, now that you have it under contract, you can now advertise it rent to own. So I put it out there, rent to own, $15,000. If you wanted to move in, and the $15,000 would go against the.
Somebody said, what is a deed? What is the deed to the house?
A deed is like first and foremost, when you are buying real estate, go through a title company, you want to check the title, make sure there's no liens, make sure, they don't owe anybody money.
Right.
And then get the deed to the property, which gives ownership and it's proof of ownership. So that nobody else can take it, really. That's the one thing I don't think that people can. I'm going to say you can't steal real estate, some crazy things. But back to the story.
Right. So you got the property under contract, and you're trying to figure out how to get the money, and now you listed it for rent to own, $15K down, right?
Right. Okay, so yeah, I listed it. No, I put it out on Craigslist. I put it on Zillow, and I put it on Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
I found the person that ended up moving into the house on Craigslist. And how we set it up was it was rent to own. It was a specific purchase price. And then I required $15,000 down. It's like a down payment for the move in. And then that $15,000 came off the purchase price. So, if it was $155 purchase price, then it made it $140. So then with that $15,000, I ended up paying the $10,000 for the seller and pocketing $5,000. And then the people that ended up moving there took the house as is. So I didn't have to do no repairs. I didn't have to paint. I didn't have to take nothing. So that's how it ended up working out. This was, I want to say 2019. Would have been 18 or 19. But I had done so many subject to contracts for other people. I was like, let me try this out. And it ended up working out. So.
Right.
But let me tell y'all why I do not do subject to contracts and LLCs anymore, because I got another story where I was trying to do a subject to contract on this house we have on the market. Went through the whole process. And I guess when they added that LLC to the deed, it triggered the bank to call the loan. And they sent like the whole thing to an attorney, like was about to foreclose on it and everything, just calling the loan with an attorney. Like they sent out paperwork.
Right.
We ended up to put the house back on the market and selling it. So, yeah, do not do subject to contracts and LLC. When I ended up talking to an attorney, this is not legal advice that I'm giving y'all. I'm just telling you what somebody else told me, was that one of the conditions on which a lender cannot call a loan is estate planning. They cannot call your loan if you're estate planning. So that's why I put the house in a trust. When you're doing a subject to contract, you put the house in a trust. That's the name of the owner, and then you buy the rights to the trust, which has the house as an asset underneath it. So then you get the house and the so-called trust. So, and they can't call the loan because just like that one of the requirements on which they cannot call a loan is estate planning, because everybody has the right to, you know, figure out what they're going to do with their property once they're gone. So make sure y'all are doing that stuff in the trust. Do not be like me, have a loan called on you and then be rushing this house on the market, because it was very uncomfortable. The owner was, of course, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, well, hold on. I can fix this. Let's put this house in the market and sell it. But I was not confident because we had tried to sell the house previously and it was not moving. So I was like, I'll just take over the payment, which was done, and I'll just make all the repairs and run it out. And then we can try to sell it again. So yeah, they called the loan. I've done that so many times.
Right. And also, I mean, you know, just to point some things out, there's always like things to learn because, you know, you mentioned you had a mentor, you asked them some questions, right? And it's not to say that like your mentor like needs to know everything, but like shit happens, right? Like new things actually happen. And I think like that's one thing, you know, in life and business to point out is that things are not always going to be perfect. We have people that can guide us, but most importantly, stuff like pops up, right? And the point that I'm trying to make is that, you know, like you're going to be able to figure things out. You have your mentor to be able to lean on. You have somebody that wanted to sell, and you were still able to find a solution, right? So even when it comes down to like real estate or any like business problem solving, is like, you know, being open-minded and think like, how can I be able to like figure this out? And now you learn from it, right? So now you know every single time you about to do a subject to anything like that, you're going to do it under a trust, just because like if they try to call a loan, it makes things like 10 times harder. So it's like, if we could go into something knowing the best option, you know, it just makes sense to be able to like do that all the time, right? So, you know, and that's the reason why I think like mentorship's important, community's important, and to have like people in your circle. So like when things happen like that, you be able to call them up and then like ask them questions.
I know I say mentor just because this person has taught me so much, but it's not anybody that I pay.
Right.
Exactly. That it's super important to surround yourself with, you know, people that are aligned with, you know, where you're going and what your purpose is and what you do on a daily basis. Just because I just feel like it's needed to have someone to lean on. Like if I didn't have anybody to call with that problem, who knows what would have happened, or what opportunity would have been missed. Because like I said, with the first property with the subject too, I didn't know how I was going to get him $10,000 as a down payment. I really did not have $10,000 back when I was selling houses, but I had debt. I had student loan debt. I had bills. Like right before I was a real estate agent, I was homeless. So I was still climbing out of debt. So I didn't have $10,000. And I just think it's incredible that there are techniques that allow us to, capitalize on opportunities. It's just about, having those people around you that can guide you and just suggest certain things and help you talk through certain things. So that was like literally my first rental property. I cash flowed it, learned some things, went through some things, but and then that was right before the market got hot. So if I would have known what I knew now, I probably wouldn't have done the rent to own. I probably would have just rented it. But at the time, I learned so much. But it's how did you switch from rent to own to selling it on the market? So I didn't sell that house on the market. The people that moved in on their own and paid that deposit, they ended up purchasing the house. Like they had a option to purchase, and they purchased it. They didn't use a realtor. They went, got their credit together, went to a mortgage professional, got their approval letter, went to the bank, we closed on it. So they
And
got.
and is it true that you could kind of set that up like in the deal? So like when you rent it out, you could say like 2 years. Here's like your option to buy into the property if you guys want.
Yeah, so I did a 5-year option. Like you only had 5 years you could purchase it. And they purchased it with they purchased it so fast. I think it wasn't even it was less than 2 years, just like a little over a year.
Right.
They really got their stuff together. Like we're gonna buy this house. It was a nice house. It was out in Pittsburgh. I'm trying to think of that neighborhood, Walnut Hill area.
Okay.
I remember the street, but I don't know if I would put the street name out like that. But yeah. So yeah, there are some strategies in real estate that allow you to, acquire property without having any money. At the time, I could not have gotten it with my credit. My credit was decent, but what people don't understand is you can have a 800. Matter of fact, let's go crazy. You have a 900 credit score. They don't even make those. But let's just say you could have a 900 credit score. If you don't have income to back it, it's hard to get things. If you're not going and filing taxes, letting the people know, showing your hand, it's hard to get things.
Yeah, and because banks, they want to see like stable income. They want to see that you have the ability to be able to pay. So, even if you're self-employed, even if you work a job, regardless of whichever the two that you have, it's always good to file your taxes, make sure everything is like set up. Because like when it's time to get ready to take advantage of an opportunity, you want to make sure that like you're already in position. You want to make sure that you're already like ready. You're ready to go so you can pull the trigger. And when it comes down to building wealth, I feel like we always got to be ready. Like no matter what, we always got to have people around us that's like ready to partner up on certain things. But I like the fact that you decided to do the live just because talk about different ways to be able to take properties down. If you're wholesaling, if you're in real estate, and it's like you're trying to figure out how to do stuff. I feel like it's good, especially now. I feel like it's market now. I know a lot of people is getting properties under like subject to creative financing stuff. So a prime person I'm thinking about is Noah. Noah built a lot of his rental portfolio solely off of like subject to. He didn't use credit. He didn't have a credit partner, but there was a different way to be able to do it. And he was like talking to these sellers like on the phone, going out there and getting to the deal. So that's another reason why I think like marketing the sellers and speaking to them and getting on the contract is like the best thing that you could do, because now I feel like you're in a position where you can control how the deal goes.
Right. And I will say I have shifted my business and now I'm looking for stuff for myself. So most of the stuff I come across, if it doesn't me, of course I'll put it out then, but I'm targeting things myself. And what I plan on is taking advantage of those low interest rates they was out, because some of them people are gonna need to move, and they're gonna need somebody to take over their mortgage. So anybody that has a mortgage in place at like a 2% interest rate or a 3% interest rate, we're not getting it. So even pay for it in cash and try to do the BRRRR method, I'm looking at 7% right now for an investor type loan is being very generous right now. So I would say I'm looking at 7% versus me, assuming someone else's mortgage and getting a 3% interest rate. That's cheaper money. And I can just take over what's left over and put my name on the deed. Well, put their trust on the deed and invest, of course.
Right. And now, like you have something that like you're holding, right? You have something that's making money, like every single month. So I think holding property is like hella important when it comes down to building wealth.
Yeah, definitely. It just gives you freedom. imagine like having, and we're not even talking about short-term rental. We're talking about just holding property, putting a long-term tenant in there, and getting out the way.
Right.
Imagine like 10 properties. Even if you're only making $500 from each property, that's a significant amount of money that you're getting every month that goes towards your bills.
Right. Exactly.
So you're not relying on your job to pay your rent or so it just gives you another level of freedom. Like you might go to the job and they talk to you crazy. You like, hold on, I don't. This is my play money right here. Y'all can't talk to me like that. So it's a level of freedom. It's really why a lot of people don't work.
Somebody said, what tips do you have for finding a contract what tips do you have?
I think you're saying it's called a subject to contract.
Okay.
And so when I target, I'm not necessarily targeting them for a subject to contract. I have created what is called a buy box. So I have a specific criteria houses that I target. Like my thing is small houses, ranch style, not a lot of square footage. I want them to be mostly move-in ready. Like I don't like to do big projects. I want to just floors down to some paint and something like that. But it's important to have a buy box and just target properties constantly with boxes. And then once you get connected to a seller, you're just listening to them and asking them, what their motivation, what their problem is. You're there to help them solve their problem. So I just think about the techniques at the time that will be best suited to them. And if it just happens to be me taking over their payments, I put that on the table. Like I like to give out at least 3 options. Like unless you're, foreclosure, they're about to take your house next week, then we got to move a little faster and your options are. But if you have time, time comes. So I just go over your options and I let people pick the option that fits them best. Like and sometimes it's, they just wanted somebody to take over their mortgage.
Right. Why do you think if you're gonna be an investor, right, you come into real estate to build wealth, why do you think it's important to develop some type of like buy box? Why do you think that's important to real estate investors?
I think it's important in everything that you do to plan and have a strategy. So we're not out here just doing anything, everything, and letting life happen to us. So with everything, you should have a plan. If you intend to, acquire, then you need to establish like what kind of price am I looking for? How much am I willing to pay? What am I willing to, put in to get the result that I'm for? Big on planning and strategy. Same thing, I want to put this out for when you're doing the business funding, business credit cards and all of that. We don't want to just go and apply at all the banks randomly with no strategy, just whoever you can think of at the time. You want to figure out, what banks you're going to pull from, make a list and figure out how much money they give, what the interest rates are, and what credit bureaus they pull from. So then you can maximize that opportunity. So I'm just a person where we got to start planning everything. We shouldn't be doing anything without a strategy behind it. And I'm talking personal life, business life. This is not just real estate. You gotta
And I think like one thing that's important to just point out is that the way that everybody comes into this game for like real estate is going to be different, right? Some people, they already have like money in their 401k, right? You could have been working a full-time job since you was like 18 and now you're like 26, 27, maybe, close to 30, and it's like, you know, you got $20,000, $30,000 like in your 401k. The person who has like, you know, that type of access, right? Their options are going to be a little bit different versus like the person, you know, they may not have like some savings up. So we may have to be able to, you know, like apply for some credit, you know, be able to like, you know, go in that direction. So a lot of people, they give advice on like, you know, we should do it this way, we should flip, we should buy and hold. I think the most important thing is to like look at where you at financially and see like what's your resources first, right? Where are you at financially? How much money you have coming in every single month? How do you, you know, how much do you make per year, right? Can you do FHA? Can you house hack, right? That's like that's a common strategy. But you know, if you're self-employed, you may not be able to house hack as easily if you're just starting out. So I think like the best thing is like what we should all be doing is taking like financial inventory, seeing like where we're at, right? And then like realistically create a plan, and then you know figure out like, all right, this is where I'm at, this is where I want to be at. Like, how do we bridge this gap? You know, how do we bridge this gap? How do we be able to come together and, you know, be able to like create that plan and put that plan in motion? So I think, you know, I think it's good. I think it's important to have the buy box. I agree. I think I need to tighten up on my end, right? To be able to figure out, you know, like what's my buy box. I like buy and hold a lot just because, you know, the passive income every single month is like, we can really do things that we want to do if we have enough money coming in, so we don't have to trade our time for it. So that's important to me at the end of the day, being able to create the lifestyle that I want. So let me tell you, Stephanie, she's a good host. Don't listen to what she's saying. She's a phenomenal host, right? But this is the reason why we have people around us. So when she wanted to go live, she hit me up. We was able to make it happen. So but the most important part is that if you guys have any questions, post them in the comments. We don't know how long we're going to be on here for, right? You know, so if you guys have any questions, post them in the comments. Request up if you want to ask us any questions. So Stephanie, you know, you did that subject to strategy, right? You was able to get your rental. That's how you got some of your rentals that you have now. So like, what's some of the things that you are working on like right now to continue to grow as a real estate investor, an agent, to be able to build wealth? Like, what are some of the things that you're doing right now in this moment?
Cold calling. I'm a big, it's not an agent still, like, and it's not just agents. I just think the agents are the most people who try to avoid it. They don't want to make calls. They think that you can just wait for people to seek you out, and you can. Like, people are going to refer you if they know what. However, at the level that I'm trying to go, I don't want to just wait for it. I want to be actively seeking out. So right now I'm doing a lot of cold calling, and I'm just getting myself right, getting my business credit, my funding in place, having my 0% interest rate credit card in place, having my credit stays straight.
Right.
Make sure that my credit is always straight, just in case I need to make a play. And then my goal is I want to buy a house every single month in 2023, but I went under contract on 3 separate houses in January, and all 3 of them fell through just because I ain't like them. Once we started to home inspection, stuff was happening, I was like, get somebody else. What about you, Gardy?
So one of the things that I'm trying to do is partnerships. I want to be able to do a big acquisition, like apartments, maybe even like a storage unit, but something where, I could like work with other people and like we partner on something. It could be like a 5-year play where we buy now, we fix it up, and then increase the value and maybe sell it down the line. But I want to be able to do partnerships. And the reason why I say I want to be able to do partnerships is because I feel like, yes, it's good to be able to like, do stuff on your own, like buy these properties on your own. But like, I really want the people that I'm connected to, my circle of influence, to like all be on the same wave as me, right? To all be on the same playing field, or even like further than me, just so it's like the people that I'm connected to is like, you know, they're all making stuff happen at the end of the day. And, you know, a lot of my mentors, they have like all of these properties, and it's like, you know, they work together. They was able to figure this, able to come collectively as a unit and really go far. And I feel like once you really get to a certain point, like financially, and I don't think it's really like a dollar amount, but I feel like you could be a bit more impactful. You know, you could be a bit more impactful with some of the things that you're doing, being able to, like, you know, give people games, share some knowledge or whatever, and do what you need to do, because then it's going to show like you don't actually have to do things for money. You know, I think a lot of times, like, just in the beginning, it's like we're driven by, like, you know, bills, by debt, by providing. You know, we got kids. You know, everyone's circumstances is different, but once you get past that like survival mode, I feel like now you get to really like sit back and you could think, it's like, all right, how can we really do this? Like, how can we really buy like a 50-unit apartment building, a 60-unit apartment building, right? Things like that. Like, how can we really play at a high level? And the people who are at that capacity, they're not doing that type of stuff like by themselves, right? They definitely have a team. And I feel like if you want to go far, you can go far because you're going to be by yourself. But if you want to go further, then you got to do it with others. So, you know, I'm reading, I'm studying, but most importantly, I'm open to like partnerships, right? Long-term partnerships, being able to work with people to do like big plays, right? I'm trying to take down an apartment. So that's for me. So that's what I'm working on for this year.
Yeah. So one of the questions was, where do you get
Hey.
it?
Oh,
Dana,
good. My
what's
hair
going
looking a
on? How you doing?
mess. Lord.
Always look.
Look, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I said, let me just jump on and see what y'all talking about.
Yeah, we're talking about just creative strategies in real estate for the most part. I was able to get my first rental property with no money.
Mm-hmm.
I had good credit, but I did type of it. So I, you know, I credit the business credit plays at the time, so I couldn't get a loan. So I ended up doing a subject to contract, which is, you know,
Yeah, a lot of people don't talk about subject tools, right? And that's another way to really get into real estate, kind of with no money out of pocket. Anytime you hear about, you know, no money, no credit, is really when somebody's talking about wholesaling a property, but you're not keeping it, right? And we want to be able to keep some of these properties. So definitely doing a subject to is a way to keep the property, you know, and it's not even reporting on your credit.
Right.
So this is definitely a good topic that people don't even don't know about and not aware of. So now let me ask you a question about the subject too. Now, do you have to have a realtor involved? Because like in wholesaling, you don't really need a realtor per se. So do you have to have a realtor involved for a subject to, or is this something that you know, you as an investor can do?
You as an investor can do it. It's actually better to not have a real estate agent involved, just because you want to keep it with as little to no money out of pocket as possible. And, you know, a realtor.
Okay. Is this something that you teach? Because I know you do webinars and stuff like that. Is this something that you teach?
I'm going to add it. I don't have it in my program right now, but I'm going to add. I have.
Yeah, you definitely need to add it, because that's stuff that people don't talk about. You hear everybody talking about wholesaling, but nobody talks about subject to. You know, I heard about it before a couple of years ago. These white guys here in Atlanta that for the local VIA, they was talking about subject to, but you don't really hear people talking about subject to. It's always wholesaling.
Yeah, and right now I want to say it's the perfect time to target people with subject to contract. We're coming out of a time where interest rates were 2% and 3%. So I see those interest rates again. So you want to just take it from the person who already has it. And, you know,
and you know, and the thing is, a lot of people got into mortgages even with the low interest rates, but they pay so much for the house where they really can't afford it. So
And it's hard to
Yeah,
sell
because now,
right now. So you definitely.
yeah, because now, no, let me ask this question. So if you take over someone's subject to, does it matter? No, it doesn't matter because you're not doing appraisal or anything. You're just taking over the mortgage. So explain exactly what subject to is to people because most people don't know, right? So now, you know, I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, you don't have to do appraisal because you're just taking over the mortgage. You're not getting a loan for it. You're just let me let you explain. Let me let you explain. So what is subject to?
Yeah, so it's just a purchase. It's just a purchase where you're assuming the existing mortgage. And I want to say also to put that out there, you want the owner to put it in a trust first, and then sell you the rights to put a trust on the house and then sell you the rights
So
to
now,
the trust.
I would say this, like, I just know how some people they don't be wanting to do all of that, right? They're already in their feelings because they losing the house, right? And they be like, all right, you get in my house, and they feel like, you know, sometimes when people lose in their house, they don't feel like you doing them a favor. They feel like they're doing you a favor, and they feel like they really losing, but really they saving their credit in a sense, right? So sometimes they might not want to do that. So you might come across some homeowners that don't want to do it. So how do you do that?
Yeah.
How do you work that out?
I try to give people options. Usually if I'm with somebody who is, you know, interested in selling their house, I give them a cash offer. I give them an offer that is essentially taking over the existing mortgage or the existing lien on the property, or I give them, you know, the option to put it on the market as a real estate agent. So, you know, you have all of those options and you can choose whatever is best for you in the situation at hand. But, you know, I just offer that, like, you know, we can get something right now and, you know, we can get it done in days. And then you can also sweeten the deal by giving them some money. Like my first one, they want $10,000 in cash to do it. What I did was a tenant that was looking to do rental. I charged them $15,000. Gave the owner 10.
Okay. Okay. So you didn't come out of your pocket with any money. You acquired the house, and then you were still cash flowing money every month.
Yes, cash flow money every month. And
okay, that's good. Good. So this is something you definitely should be teaching added to your webinar because you know nobody's talking about this strategy. Right, because you just think with the process of wholesaling, you're not building your wealth, right? You're not creating cash flow. You're just getting a lump sum of money, and the lump sum of money might be $5,000 or $10,000. And how you just explained it, you walked away with $5,000 and still cash flowed every month.
Right. And then they made. But I did a rent to own, so they ended up buying. So I did make money on the back as well. But you don't have to do rent to own. That was just because I didn't have $10,000 to give to the owner, so I got it from, you know, that person.
I like it. Okay. Yes, I said I just jumped on here to see what y'all was talking about. Well, I'm sitting at the office. Yeah, need to go home, but I think I'm just gonna stay here until after my webinar. Like I just don't feel like moving. I just don't feel like moving. Yeah, webinar at 7:00. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna be there.
7:00. 7:00. So what do you teach in your webinar? Because it's not about my webinar. It's about yours, right? So what is it that you teach in your webinar?
The business credit on how to get funding, like like starting from step 1, what you need to do, like day 1, step 1, all the way to getting.
And when is your next webinar?
It is going to be not this Sunday coming up, but the Sunday.
Okay, so that's February 5th.
Yes, and then every Sunday.
Okay, so you have the link in your bio already?
I do not. I will add bio if you
Okay.
need to go off this. I can click on the link on the
Right.
join my
Okay,
webinar.
okay. All right, well, I just wanted to jump on right quick. This is definitely an interesting topic because, you know, real estate is the way to build wealth. Like, I became a millionaire in real estate first. And, you know, it's something that you can pass down to your kids. And a lot of times, you know, people want to get started. We don't have the money. You don't have the credit. And this is a way, subject to, where it doesn't matter what your credit is because you're taking over somebody else's loan. So this is perfect way to build wealth without, you know, using any of your own money, any of your own credit, and with different exit strategies. One exit strategy can be, you know, if you want to just keep it and rent it out. Another strategy is if you want to sell it, you know, in a couple of years. Like Stephanie said, she did a rent to own. So for several months, she cash flow money, and then at the end, when she sold it, she got a big payday. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
You're welcome. How
Dana.
can I enjoy the webinar tonight, Queen? I checked the bio and it doesn't show anything. So for my webinar, the link is in my bio. It should be. It stays there. 100K Blueprint. Yeah, we never move it out. I do it every Thursday. But it's not about my webinar tonight. It's about Stephanie Gustesh, February 4th. Okay? All right. All right, Cheryl. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye. All right.
Appreciate
You're
you coming.
welcome. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yeah. So I got like 2 more minutes. I can.
We are actually meeting. Let me tell y'all what last. You know what? I'm gonna keep it to myself because every time I get excited, I be putting stuff out there, and then people end up doing the same thing. So I'm gonna wait this time.
Okay.
What we're about to do is legendary, okay, people? Legendary. That's it. Legendary. We're gonna be helping the community do some things. So y'all stay tuned in. But we're gonna have our first meeting, and we'll just go from there. Guardian, I'm gonna have to call you on the side and tell you what we're doing.
Yo,
You got to.
you already know. You already know. Anything I'm doing online, long term, Stephanie's by my side. She's my left hand in everything I'm doing online, man. So
This is
if I got something coming up,
epic. It's still gonna be epic, and it's gonna be epic in a way that we're able to touch the community, like change people's. So, yeah, if y'all are interested in joining our webinar, we do a webinar on Sunday. We're not going to do it the Sunday coming up, but it's going to be recurring every Sunday afterwards.
Right.
DM the word. What word are we going to use?
Credit to cash. That's what we're gonna use. We're gonna use
Give me the word cash. Cash.
all right.
That's what we talking about.
We're gonna do cash, but also not only that, just to let you guys know, me and Stephanie, we do go live every single Wednesday. We've been going live all of last year, going live, bringing different entrepreneurs on, different people on to be able to just kick some game, right? So you can watch the lives every single Wednesday going forward if you're new to our page, and also you can check out all of our previous lives. We do give a lot of game. We want to be able to help as many people as we can, and you know, it's good just to hear like different perspectives from like different people, right? So that's what me and Stephanie do every single Wednesday. We bring on different people to be able to give you guys some game.
All righty. So we're about to get up out of here, but Garden will call you. So yeah.
Let's do it.
Where cash to join my webinar is every day. And we're going to add subject contracts in there. We're going to talk about it. Matter of fact, we're going to add all the matter of fact, we should change the whole webinar. How to buy real estate with no money, period. That's going to be the webinar. We're going to show you everything we know about buying houses without actually having money. We're going to have you got to use your head, though.
Right.
Yeah. Now DM me the word cash. Put it in my DM so I can send you the link. But y'all have a great day.
All right.